Put your take your rucksack off. You don't need a rucksack.
This on?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, okay. Take your rucksack off.
Bye.
their arms up in the air, nice and high. You can take a deep breath and you can repeat after me as loud as you can, please. Hare Krishna! Hare Krishna! Hare Krishna! Hare Krishna! Krishna Krishna! Krishna Krishna! Hare Hare! Hare Rama! Hare Rama! Rama Rama! Hare Hare! Okay, you did very well. So now we're going to do Prematwani prayer. You put your hands together. You have room, you can bow down. For example, if I say Vrindavan Bhavati, you say, so let's try it again with a bit more enthusiasm. Vrindavan Bhavati. Jai! See, I knew you could do it. Jai Om Vishnu Pada Paramhansa Parivarajaka Acharya Astotarajaka Shishima His loving divine grace Namhaya Jagannath Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Namansori Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Ramacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Shri Sanatana Bhakti Raghunath Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunath Sahib Goswami Prabhupada Ki Prem Singh Ho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasti Gaura Bhakti Vrinda Ki Shri Radha Krishna Gopal Gopinath Madan Mohan Shankun Radha Kunja Giri Govardhan Ki Bhagavani Vanamai Ki Shri Maharani Bhakti Devi Ki Shri Harinam Sankirtan Yoga Dharma Ki Shri Prabhupada Sansan Book Distribution Ki Mathura Vrindavan Dham Ki Shri Mayapur Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Varta Puri Dham Ki Ayodhya Dham Ki Bhaktivedanta Manor Dham Ki the Queen's Platinum Jubilee celebration cake. But with the Queen also needs blessings from Krishna. So, okay, so next part I say all glories to assembled devotees and you say Hare Krishna. All glories to assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. Okay, all glories to Lord Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. So we humbly request everyone to sit down. We're going to sing the prayers to Lord Nrsingadev. His picture is up there. He's the protector of Prahlad Maharaj, the half-man, half-man incarnation of Krishna. He's the Bhakta Raksha. So, and then after that, Mohan Prabhu will share some words of spiritual wisdom, and then we'll carry on Kirtan till 6. Hare Krishna. minutes, we've got something nice for you. We've got a few minutes of spiritual wisdom, pearls of wisdom. So Mohan Prabhu is going to share something with you. So if you can pay attention, he may ask you some questions. So keep your ears open. So we're serving prasad in the Haveli. We've got plenty of prasad, so there's no rush.
Hey Krishna. So as Bhagavad Prabhu said, there's plenty of prasadam. That's not going to finish anytime soon. So please, if you could bear for a few minutes, this could be a life-changing education, life-changing information. You know, often we just come to the temple, we take darshan and we sing the bhajans and the prayers and we go. But this process of Krishna consciousness is Shravanam Kirtanam. It means that yes, we chant, but we also try and engage our ears in hearing. Our ears in hearing, and when we hear information, that information can transform our life. So please bear with me, okay? Are you all with me? It's only a few minutes. So Krishna says in the Bhagavad-Gita that this external energy is very difficult to overcome. When I talk about the external energy, what am I talking about? Maya, this material world. This material world has so many variety, wide range of temptation that feels good, sounds good, and seems good. But Krishna also says in the Gita, what is nectarian in the beginning can be poisonous in the end. Krishna also says that there's 4 types of people that come into this world, or that come to me. Do you know which one it is? 4 people. Those that are seeking for wealth, those that are seeking for knowledge, those that are in distress, and those that are seeking for the absolute truth. But many of us fall under the category of those that are distressed. And we've all experienced this, right? We're all going through distress, disturbance, chaos in our life. And naturally, the normal thing, at least we think to seem to do, is that we try and take shelter in our career, in our wealth, in our family, in our friends. All these wide variety range of things. How many of you resonate with me so far? So I can see that there's quite a few pure devotees here that don't resonate with me. Every one of you must resonate with me because we all go through this. We all experience this. So what is the solution? The thing is, if we keep taking shelter of things that seems nectarian in the beginning and poisonous in the end, we develop what is called pride. And Krishna says that in the spiritual world, there is, we can't really enter into Krishna's world with a tinge of envy, pride, with a tinge of thinking that I'm better, that I'm this, I'm that. So therefore, in the process of Krishna consciousness, at least when I became a brahmachari and I joined the ashram, they taught me something very valuable and important, which I'm going to share with you. It's a secret. I don't usually share it with people. I don't give it out, but you guys are all cool. You're listening. You're paying attention. So I like you, so I'm going to share with you. Are you ready? Are you ready for the secret? And if I share the secret with you, will you all promise to apply it in your life? Okay, fantastic. I'm going to share with half of the room because the other half of the room, they didn't say yes. Are you all with me? Okay. So they say that there's 3 types of service that we should aspire to do. What is the first service? The first thing that we should all aspire to do and we should all aspire to apply in our life is to do things that we like to do. I don't mean in terms of just sense gratification. I mean in the mandir, in the temple or stuff like that. Services that you're good at. So every single one of you, when you go home, you can evaluate, self-evaluate, introspect. What are your abilities? What are your skills? Because what does Krishna say in the Bhagavad-Gita? Krishna says in the Bhagavad-Gita that I am the ability in man. So every single one of you, kids or adults, you've all been given unique abilities, traits, and skills. If you don't use it for Krishna's sake, if you don't use it for Krishna's purpose, then in Sri Ishopanishad, it mentions Atmaha. It means killer of the soul. It means that we're not grateful, we're not appreciative for what Krishna's given us. And so when we don't express gratitude through application, Krishna can very much take away our ability from us. And it's happened before, right? People that are very good at making money, people that are very good at speaking, people that are very good kirtanir, one day they lose it. And they may think it's because I'm not practicing enough, but no. Krishna says that I am in the heart of the living entity. So whether we want to be guided, He will guide us. Whether we want to be misguided, He will misguide us. He doesn't want to, but He will actually oblige to help us, to give us what we desire. So first of all, try and do things that you're good at, but for Krishna. And that will infuse you. Otherwise, how many of you have experienced what's called burnout? We get frustrated, we get tired, we get exhausted. Spiritual life doesn't just seem as relishable as it used to be. Or even studying doesn't seem as nice as it used to be. We've all experienced burnout. So first of all, do things that you like to do for Krishna's sake. Secondly, if you just keep doing what you like to do, you'll become proud. If you just like to do what you like to do, you'll become egoistical. If you just do what you like to do, you'll think that you're the best. But who's the best? Who's the most effulgent and brilliant? Krishna. So therefore, other than doing what we like to do, we need to do what is needful. Sometimes someone may come to you and say to you, oh Mataji, oh Prabhu, can you just do this? Can you clean the toilet, or can you help out with this service and that service? It's like, no, it's not my trait, it's not my nature, it's not my dharma. But if you just continue with that mentality, you will never develop the qualities you need to access into Krishna's realm. So you have to do the needful. When people come to you, it's not that person is coming to you. Krishna sent that person in your life to see whether you pass or fail the test. Will you surrender with humility, or will you think you're great? And every single one of us, the reason why we're in this material world is because we think we're little Ishvara. We think that we're the controllers and the enjoyers, and that we're here for, that the center of the world revolves around us. So when you do what is needful, it helps you to develop what is called selflessness rather than self-centeredness. And self-centeredness is the reason why we're suffering. That expectation that I deserve. But actually we don't deserve anything. Krishna, when we live with that mentality, Krishna takes our small qualification and he gives us the biggest reward when we have humility. Thirdly, other than doing what is needful, do what's urgent. Sometimes you may be the only person in a room, in the house, and something calls for that needs to be done, and you need to do it. So doing service that you like to do, service that needs to be done, and services that are urgent and there's no thinking about it, just get it done. When you can do this, then you can become a Vaishnava, a devotee with humility, which is one of the qualities that mentions in the Bhagavad-Gita of what it means to be a perfect gentleman in this world. And every single one of us, when we leave this temple, we need to show and express to the world what it means to be a good human being, to be a spiritual being. Because that's what the world requires, and that's what the world needs more than ever. You're all very special, you're all very unique, and not because, I'm not saying that to boost your ego, but because you're parts and parcel of Krishna. You all have the same quality, just not in quantity. So do things that you like to do things that needs to be done, and do things that are urgent. And how can you find these three types of service? You're in the best place. This temple provides, it's one of the most wonderful opportunities that Srila Prabhupada has given us, an environment and an atmosphere where we can utilize our skills, our abilities. So I'll leave you with one last thing. Find an intensity that matches with your personality and you will blossom beautifully. I'll leave you with that. And if you want to get involved, there's also opportunities like School of Bhakti. Have you ever heard of School of Bhakti? Some of you have heard it. So there's plenty of services, courses, things that you can do to really identify who you are, why you're here, and where you're going. It's like if you're in a car, you can't just get to your destination. You need to acknowledge where you are, adjust, and then aspire for higher connection. And since it's the Queen's celebration today, we want to give a blessing to the Queens for all of the wonderful things that she's also doing. And I just leave you with that, please. Once you leave this temple, just remember that every single one of you has an opportunity of a lifetime. Don't waste it. Make the most of it, because life is short. Parikshit Maharaj knew he had 7 days to live, but none of you in this temple room, including me, don't even know if you have 7 seconds to live. So make the most out of your life, kids or adults. And as an adult, you should encourage your children to take on spiritual practice. Okay? Thank you all so much. Have a wonderful holiday. I wish you all the best. Good luck in your spiritual life. And the next RT will be at 7 p.m. The curtains will be open all day, so you can chant here, go to the reception, take a book, buy a book, or go to, there's a devotee outside and just inquire about School of Bhakti, or if you have a question, you're more than welcome to come to me and I'm happy to answer any of your questions. Hare Krishna. And so there's going to be a kirtan that's going to go on now, so you can also chant along with that. Yeah. Oh, and 6 o'clock is Bhagavad-Gita. So, alright. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Radha Gokulananda, Radhe Radhe, Radha Gokulananda, Radhe Radhe. Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman Jaya, Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman Jaya, Sita Ram Lakshman Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Gauranitai. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada.
Jai Gaura Pramanande Hari Hari Bol. Shri Hari Nama Sankirtana Yagya Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Hare Krishna. So now we'll have a Bhagavad-Gita class in the temple room, so please stay around for that. And then at 7 o'clock we'll have Aarti. So maybe if you can all sit on that side of the room, facing the speaker this way.
Hare Krishna. Maybe you guys can sit on this side, that way I don't have my back to you. You guys can move over here, just that way I don't have my back to you guys. Thank you.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Gokula Nanda, Radha Gokula Nanda, Radha Gokula Nanda, Shri Radhe. Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman, Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman. Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. So today we are reading from the Bhagavad-Gita, chapter 12, verse 10. So this is Abhyasi piyasamarto shri madkarma paramo bhava mardartam api karmani kurvan siddhim avapyasyasi. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. If you cannot practice the regulations of Bhakti Yoga, then just try to work for me, because by working for me you will come to the perfect stage. Purport. One who is not able even to practice the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga under the guidance of a spiritual master can still be drawn to this perfectional stage by working for the Supreme Lord. How to do this work has already been explained in the 55th verse of the 11th chapter. One should be sympathetic to the propagation of Krishna consciousness. There are many devotees who are engaged in the propagation of Krishna consciousness, and they require help. So even if one cannot directly practice the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga, he can try to help such work. Every endeavor requires land, capital, organization, and labor. Just as in business, one requires a place to stay, some capital to use, some labor and some organization to expand, so the same is required in the service of Krishna. The only difference is that in materialism, one works for sense gratification. The same work, however, can be performed for the satisfaction of Krishna, and that is spiritual activity. If one has sufficient money, he can help in building an office or temple for propagating Krishna consciousness, or he can help with publications. There are various fields of activity, and one should be interested in such activities. If one cannot sacrifice the results of his activities, the same person can still sacrifice some percentage to propagate Krishna consciousness. This voluntary service to the cause of Krishna consciousness will help one to rise to a higher state of love for God, whereupon one becomes perfect. I'll just start with some prayers. Om Gnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshu Anmaditam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutare Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utaparakamam Shri Gurum Vaishnavam Scha Sri Rupam Sakashitam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sarvaitam Savadutam Parijana Setam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindan Videshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vansha Kopatarubhischa Kripa Sindhu Bhevicha Patitanam Pavanibhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristai Bhutare Shmate Bhaktivedanta Swaminithanamane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pachayane Nivishesha Sunyavadi Paschita Deshatayane Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Pramapadayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratushanama Namo Brahmanya Davaya Go Brahmane Hitaya Cha Jagaditaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Thank you for coming this evening. So, as I said, we'll be reading and discussing Bhagavad-Gita, chapter 12, verse 10. So I'll just say the translation again of this verse. If you cannot practice the regulations of Bhakti Yoga, then just try to work for me, because by working for me, you will come to the perfect stage. So this chapter, chapter 12 of the Bhagavad-Gita, is about devotional service, and it comes just after, obviously, chapter 11, in which Krishna is speaking to Arjuna about the universal form. And the universal form is Arjuna asking to see Krishna's sort of material, or the kind of the form of Krishna that controls the whole material manifestation. And so in chapter 12, it begins by Arjuna asking Krishna what's better to do as worship, either worshipping the impersonal Brahman, like this universal form, this universal kind of incarnation of Krishna, or engaging in devotional service. And so Arjuna has just seen the impersonal universal form, and therefore he's asking whether it's better to worship or to serve personally or to worship impersonally. And so then Krishna replies in verses sort of 2 to 11, 2 to 9, that those who fix their minds on his personal form and engaging in some service in that way are always engaged in worshipping him with faith, and therefore they are perfect. And therefore personal service is superior to impersonal service. And then also in these preceding verses, Krishna also says that one who gives up all activities, devotes themselves to him, engages in devotional service, and always meditates on him, Krishna delivers them from the ocean of birth and death, repeated birth and death. And then Krishna therefore encourages in this chapter to fix one's mind on him and serve him with intelligence. And for those who cannot fix their mind on Krishna, he recommends that they follow the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga, and in this way develop the desire to serve him personally. And so in this verse, in verse 10, Krishna is saying, if you cannot practice the regulations of Bhakti Yoga, then just try to work for me. And in this way, by working for Krishna, then one can come to the perfect stage. And Krishna and Srila Prabhupada mentions in the purport that how one can work for Krishna in different ways. Working directly for Krishna, like having one's job directly connected to Krishna or Krishna consciousness. One's job being directly linked to spreading Krishna consciousness, and also using one's salary for helping to propagate Krishna consciousness. And so this chapter fits nicely into the rest of the Gita and Krishna's ultimate conclusion verses or concluding verses in chapter 18, because in chapter 18, verse 66, Krishna tells Arjuna to abandon all varieties of religion and just to surrender unto him. And so in this way we can understand surrender means service, and abandoning varieties of religion means abandoning all other types of yoga or different types of worship as well. Or other types of spiritual practice, and simply engaging in devotional service. And so, in this verse, Krishna is telling Arjuna that there are different degradations of spiritual practice. So, if one cannot practice something, they can practice something else, and in this way, they can rise or be elevated to a higher platform, a higher stage. And if one, in this specific verse, Krishna is saying, if one cannot practice the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga, then just try to work for him, and in that way come to the perfect stage. And so you may be wondering what the regulations of Bhakti Yoga entail. And so it's mentioned in this, in the purport by Srila Prabhupada, and also in the 55th verse of the 11th chapter, 1155 of the Gita, where it's mentioned that being guided by the spiritual master, rising early, taking a bath, entering the temple and offering prayers and chanting Hare Krishna, collecting flowers to offer to the deity and cooking preparations to offer to the deity, and then also honoring the prasadam after it has been offered nicely to Krishna. And so these are different regulations of Bhakti Yoga, and in this verse, that's why Krishna is saying, if you cannot practice these regulations, then just try and work for him. Dedicate your kind of your daily activities to Krishna. And in this verse it's nice that Krishna is giving so many different options. In case one cannot practice the perfect stage, one can practice sort of a lower, or not lower in sort of devotion, but something, kind of a stepping stone that may help one then get to the perfect stage. And so there are different options for different people in different circumstances, and therefore one should do what they can for Krishna, and this will raise them to the platform where they can then do more and ultimately reach that perfect stage of loving devotional service. And so in the purport, Srila Prabhupada nicely says that by working for Krishna, one can attain this perfectional stage. And he also references chapter 11, verse 55, on how to work for Krishna. And this is to engage in pure devotional service for Krishna's pleasure only. So when we're doing any type of service, or even our daily activities like working or cooking food, preparing food, we can just dovetail that in service to Krishna. We can offer it to Krishna. Many devotees in their homes, they have, they still cook breakfast, lunch, and dinner as normal, but before they eat themselves, they offer it to Krishna, and therefore the food becomes spiritualized. And also one increases their devotional service, their devotional activities. It should also be devotional service or devotional work, I suppose, in this context, should also be free from that fruitive mentality of thinking, let me acquire so much, or let me acquire for myself. So in this way, one can be detached from their work by seeing it as something to offer to Krishna. And one who also makes Krishna the supreme goal as well. So even though we may be engaged in different activities, like working, taking care of a family, taking care of a house, maintaining, a family as well, like children and grandchildren, we can make Krishna the supreme goal. Let me have a nice house so that I can worship the deity at home. Let me raise my children in a Krishna conscious way. Let me dovetail my work so that when I'm at work, I'm not thinking about just making money and accumulating lots of things, which won't make me happy, but let me try and use this and think of Krishna as I'm doing this work, and that way it can be an offering to Krishna. And then finally, also, it's mentioned in this verse in this verse 1155 that one who engages in pure devotional service is also friendly to every living being, and in that way, one also is compassionate and is loving towards every living entity, and also wants to help them in their own Krishna conscious journey. Prabhupada also mentions in this purport that one should engage in the mission of spreading Krishna consciousness, and especially as this verse is sort of speaking a lot about engaging one's nature. In Krishna consciousness, in the Krishna consciousness movement, there are so many opportunities to get involved with different services, so many exciting, adventurous opportunities to engage one's nature in something higher, for a higher purpose. And so, sorry, I missed where I was. Yes, and also if one cannot, as I said, if one cannot directly practice the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga, if one cannot directly chant Hare Krishna and follow the regulative principles and read Srila Prabhupada's books, then at least take up some work or some service and contribute in some way. And as Prabhupada mentions, there is lots of work to do in ISKCON, in Krishna consciousness, and therefore one can help with anything. And so, as he says as well, that every endeavor requires facility, like land, capital, organization, or labor. But the difference is in Krishna consciousness, it's for satisfying Krishna. And in materialism, one tries to gratify their senses. And the key word here is tries, is because as much as we can try, our senses or ourselves are not, our hearts are not completely fulfilled by the work that we do if we're trying to satisfy ourselves. But trying to work for Krishna, one immediately satisfies the self, and it also satisfies Krishna. It's also pleasing to Krishna, and therefore we also develop our relationship with him as well. And so therefore Prabhupada says as well in this purport that if one has some money, they can also help in building an office, or they can help in building a temple or something for propagating the mission of Krishna consciousness. And so there are as I said, there are various fields of activity one can get involved in. And if one is not able to sacrifice the results of their activities, they can at least give some percentage or amount towards the mission of Krishna consciousness. And by doing so, by contributing to the mission of Krishna consciousness, one rises to a higher platform, to a higher consciousness, and a higher purpose in life in which one becomes perfect. And so the conclusion of this verse and purport is one must work for Krishna, one must directly engage in the mission of spreading Krishna consciousness, and Srila Prabhupada's movement needs help and everyone's talents and skills. Jai Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda ki Jai. Jai Shri Shri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki Jai. Jai Shri Shri Gauranitai ki Jai. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. So Srila Prabhupada's mission and movement needs help, and everyone's talents and skills are valued. And if one cannot work or give the results of their work, then at least they can contribute some percentage of their salary to Krishna, and in this way become spiritually elevated. So those are all of the kind of points that I had. If anyone wants to contribute, has any comments or questions, anything to add, please feel free. There is another microphone somewhere. I can get it if anyone has. Anyone at all? Any questions or comments on the verse purport? Yes.
You know, you mentioned earlier, sorry, I know it looks like I'm not listening, but
That's okay.
you
Please.
said earlier about, dovetailing your life to Krishna consciousness, and one of the examples you gave was raising your children. Is there any practical tips you could give for that? Like practical ways that we could do that?
Yeah, of course. I'll just repeat your question just because people are listening online. So, I mentioned about one way of dovetailing one's life in Krishna consciousness is also raising Krishna conscious children. And so you're asking how practical ways we can do that. There are many ways one can kind of raise Krishna conscious children. One is bringing them to the temple, engaging them in worship of the deities here. Especially during all of the artis, like the next arti is at 7 o'clock, and all of the artis, everyone in the temple room is actually engaged in the worship. Even though the pujari is on the altar and is actually offering the things, us being present and observing that, we're actually part of that offering to Krishna. So that's one thing. The other is also offering food to Krishna that children can eat, and in that way, they everything that they eat will be prasad, and that way they develop their relationship to Krishna. It's also there are many nice programs at the manor, like Pandavasena. There's also Krishna Club, the Gurukul, and a few other projects where, events that happen every week where children can hear about Krishna and can even start to learn like some of the instruments, so they can perform kirtan and sing some nice kirtan for Krishna. They learn the philosophy as well. They have like some nice introductions to the philosophy of Krishna consciousness, the science of Krishna consciousness. So these are a few ways that one can raise Krishna conscious children. But I'd say probably the big one is bringing them into the association of devotees. It's often said in Krishna consciousness that it takes a village to raise a child, and so this community at the manor especially is something very rare, and especially from my experience and seeing some friends and family of mine who have also brought up in Krishna consciousness or at the manor, having those also friends and association, being part of a group of friends who grow in Krishna consciousness together, that's a really nice way. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Sure. Does anyone else have any other questions or comments? Anything that you liked about this verse or purport? Want me to ask a question? Wonderful.
Why did Krishna come to this world in different forms?
Why did Krishna come to this world
In different kinds of forms.
in different kinds of forms? Wow, that's a very, very smart question. Thank you for asking it. What's your name? Shayanti. Wow, that's a nice name. That's a very nice name. Thank you. So why does Krishna come to this world in different forms? Yeah, many different forms. So it's mentioned in the Gita that Krishna comes in different forms for different time, places, and circumstances. So some people in different places can understand Krishna in one way, and others in other places can understand Krishna in another way. And so Krishna comes in these different forms in order to be able to relate to different people in different places. So only some people will be able to understand Krishna in one form, and so then he takes many forms, so then more people can understand him. And so, that's why. But then we also know that Krishna, he has his ultimate form, his real form, his actual form, you know. So then that's Krishna himself, that's his real self, you know. Like sometimes we might go to work, or you might go to school. When you're at school, you're a student, and when you go to work, you're an employer or a manager or something. But when you're at home, you're Shayanti. And that's you, that's the real you. And so sometimes you have different roles or different, you know, maybe people call you different things wherever you are, but the true you is Shayanti. And that's the real you. And if they know Shayanti, this is the real person. Yeah? This is the real person. Thank you very much. Very nice question. Very intelligent question. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Thank you. Hare Krishna. If there's any other questions at all? Hey, how you doing? Questions? Yeah. Yes. Yeah, it's mentioned in scripture that the next incarnation of Krishna is due at the end of Kali Yuga, which is the incarnation called Kalki. And this is the final, or kind of the last incarnation of Krishna for this sort of Yuga cycle, I believe. And at that time he comes to protect the devotees and also to slay the demons. Yeah, it's mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam, and these predictions are there, and where Krishna will be, will appear, for example. These different, this information is there in the Bhagavatam. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, if there are no other questions, we can end here. The RT will be at 7 o'clock. Thank you for listening. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Kamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Chakrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tvam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanitanscha Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktivedanta Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktivedanta Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktivedanta Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Rama,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama.
There's one there, we can go there.
श्री राधा गोकुलानंद की, सीताराम लक्ष्मण हनुमान की, जय श्री गौरनीता। जय Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishashashana Pasyate Vishakarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasani Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Radha Gokulananda ki, Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki, Shri Gaura Nitai ki, Shri Prabhupada ki. Nitya Gaura Premananda. Hari Hari Bol. Thank you so much for attending the Arati. So now we'll recite Premadvani prayers, the prayers glorifying the previous acharyas, the Lord and the paraphernalia. So whenever you can bow down, or if your health doesn't allow, you can also fold your hands. And whenever I say ki, please you say Jai. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivraja Kacharya Ashtotarshat Shishimat, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivraja Kacharya Ashtotarshat Shishimat, His Divine Grace Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur ki Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan ki Vrindavan Dham ki Mayapur Dham ki Jagannath Kshetra Dham ki Ganga Mai ki Yamuna Mai ki Tulsi Maharani ki Harinam Sankirtan Yagya ki Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda ki. All glories to somebody devotees. Hare Krishna. Sorry. Now when I say all glories to somebody devotees, you please say Hare Krishna. All glories to somebody devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to somebody devotees. All glories to somebody devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So now if I can request everyone to sit down, please, and we will recite the prayers for Lord Narasimhadev for protection.
Just have to get out now. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, Anjali. Come quickly.
What's his name?